If you move to our next point, that is now exemption scoring tips. So it is very important for any examinee to score exemptions in his or her subjects. So what are the points which will help you in scoring exemptions? Sometimes you miss exemptions by 5 marks, 10 marks because of the very, very small points. So I'll discuss something about those exemption scoring tips. The
Palash,
first is,
Palash,
yeah.
even before you start with, the tips, why don't you tell a bit about how do, people decide? Like, it is important for the examiner to know, like, he's targeting exemption for a particular subject. It cannot be that, you are preparing for eight subjects in the same strength and you expect exemption in some. So you have to be clear before your exams that, oh, this is the subject I need to get exemptions in. So if someone is going for both the groups, he has to ensure that he has some 4 subjects in which he need exemptions. That is the only way you can clear this thing. And if someone is going for a group, then he need to, select those 2 subjects. So how do how to go about this?
Yeah. So yeah, definitely. See, it's very, very important that you cannot. It's difficult to score exemptions in all the subjects. So you should select those subjects in which you are good at. It can be theory subjects if you are good in them. It can be a practical subject. Mostly, if you look at the past trends, people get exemptions mostly in FRs and all. So it depends that you should try to find out that what is the incremental effort that I need to give to get that exemption. Okay, in theory subject it is even difficult to score 40 marks, but now since you are having MCQs of 30 marks in theory exams, so you can figure out that yeah, if I can score good in theory marks, I can get exemptions in theory subjects as well. In MCQ, if you can score good in MCQs, then I can get exemption in theory subjects also. If you can score well in practical, if you are doing well in practical exams, then definitely you can score exemptions in that. So you should figure out that which are the 2 subjects. For example, if I give you a tip, so never try to score exemption in audit. See, it's always by chance that you can score exemption in audit. So don't go for subjects like that, because there are a lot of essays and all, they are so deep, you never know from where the institute is going to ask question.
But
Okay, so do not try.
1 second, I have a
Yeah,
question
yeah,
for
Akash.
people. I have a question for people. So do we have someone who is like confident and who thinks that, oh, he'll keep this audit subject for scoring exemption? Do we have someone? Can you just type out one for audit? I guess we can do this for all subjects. Do we have someone for audit? I'll wait for 3 to 5 seconds. Okay. We have Hassan Khan. Great.
So yeah, 1 out of 40 we are getting for scoring exemption and audit. So you can understand that it is really difficult.
And what about law?
FR, so you,
What about law? Can you just type out 2 for law? Just type out 2 for law. Okay, a lot of people.
yeah.
Palash,
So a lot of people are.
specifically certain tips for law, and I guess FR, as you did mention, that FR is something that people try to lay their hands on, and since it is a first exam, you have got extra time to prepare. So
Yeah.
how many are targeting exemption in FR? Just type 3. No one? Okay. Rohit, David, Akshay. Okay, good enough. Palash, go on.
Yeah. So now we are starting with see, the first thing is the subject in which you are targeting your exemption. It is very important that you understand that from which topics the weightage of the question paper is more. Okay, you need to figure that out. If I can give you the example, take the example of direct tax, then we definitely know that 16 mark questions from PGBP is definitely going to come. So you cannot leave that kind of topic. You should cover that kind of topic completely. If I talk about final exams, then you know that 16 marks weightage is given to case laws. So so why should we leave those case laws? If you would get 16 in PGBP and 16 in case laws, you are definitely knowing a 32 marks question paper out of 70 which is theoretical. So it's very important that you find out that which are the topics in which it is very important that, yeah, definitely from the past tense we can understand that institute is asking questions from these topics. Definitely, if you take the example of FR, then accounting standards most of the time are coming in compulsory questions. Then they may give consolidation. So these are the topics which are compulsory. Now let's take another example in this also. Suppose you are not for IPCC students, they are not good in partnership, in accounts and all. So you might choose to leave it, but instead of that, then you work hard on other topics. You work hard in amalgamation, you work hard in consolidation. At least one difficult topic you should prepare. It should be like that. If joint venture is, if consolidation is coming in compulsory question, then go for it. If joint consolidation and partnership both are coming in choice, then choose one. Why do you want to involve your time in both the topics? So excel in one subject, so you need to work hard as well as you need to work smart as well. So identify those topics which are having more weightage in your question paper as per past trends. Now second is the stepwise marking. See, you should understand that there is stepwise marking in the examination. So there are two things. The first thing is you should not miss the steps. What happens many a times, then when we know any question, we know that it's an easier question, what we do is we start missing out the steps. So once you will start missing out the steps, you will start losing out the marks. So even if it's a simple question, you know its answer, it's important that you don't miss out the steps. You should write all the steps completely, because in stepwise marking, if you miss one step, you will lose marks of that step. So the one thing. And second is, if you're not getting the answer, if you do not know any question, then also you should try to attempt it. That if you could solve one or two steps correctly, then you will definitely get marks for those two steps. So stepwise marking is a twin-edged sword. You should use it very conveniently for your benefit. If you know the answer very well, please write all the steps so that you get full marks in that question. If you do not know the answer of that question, please write those points at least which you can try, so that you get at least some marks out of nothing in that question. So that is very important when you talk about practical subjects. So working notes are having it all comes under stepwise marking only, but working notes are having their separate marks also. You while writing answer, you do not know that how much mark is devoted to which step. So please write working notes and steps completely. Do not miss them out. The third is, while you are studying your theory subjects, please try to connect the concepts with the practical examples. The theory points. For example, like take the case of audit. Okay, if you are studying special audits, you means audit of hospitals, audit of theaters and all. So what you can do is you can bifurcate. Okay, I will write 4 points about its revenue, 4 points about expenses, 4 about assets, 4 about its liabilities. So if you break down your answers with the practical examples, and if you go to hospitals, you observe the hospitals, everyone of us have visited theaters, so we understand that someone takes tickets, someone checks the tickets. So all those points are there. Someone buys online, someone buys offline. So just write down those points in your special audit cases. So when you will connect your theoretical knowledge with that practical aspect, then only you will be able to get more marks in your theory subjects. That is very important. And definitely the fourth point is to the point answers. I'll show you some answers when you will find that the what happens actually, that when you know the answer, you write too much about it, and you do not know the answer, you write nothing about it. So that should not be the case. Even if you know the answer completely, then write only those points which are relevant to the question, which are asked in the question. Don't write full section, subsection, then it's provision and everything, because you will be attracted towards writing everything that you know. But that should not be the case. You are losing out the marks, okay, by not writing some other question. And when you do not know any answer, you try to completely miss it out. You don't even give it a try. you do not even think that logically what could be the answer. So these small things will not only save time for you, but they will also help you in getting extra marks. Suppose if you do not know any answer, if you're planning to completely leave it, please give it a try. You might get 1 or 2 marks out of it. So that is very, very important. So if you could attempt 3 or 4 questions like that, you can get 6 to 8 marks out of that. And but when you know the answer, what you do is you write everything about it, you give your extra time on that. So that is not a good habit. Now let me give you a clarification also, that how much time you should devote to each of your answer. Okay, so if it's a 1 mark question, if it's a 1 mark MCQ, so do not give it more than 2 minutes. If it's a 2 marks MCQ, do not give it more than 3 minutes. If it's a 4 marks question, do not give it more than 7 minutes. If it's a 8 marks question, do not give more than 14 minutes. If it's a 12 marks question, do not give more than 21 minutes. And if it's a 16 marks question, do not give more than 30 minutes. So this you should try during your practice also, that whenever you are solving any full-fledged question, so mostly it comes in 16 marks, or if it's a smaller one, then 12 marks. So you should stick to these timelines, and it should become your habit to complete these questions on time. You should try these in your mock test. You should try while you are normally practicing in theory subjects or practical subjects. So this is very, very important that you stick to these timelines, because if you are giving 30 instead of 30 minutes 45 minutes to your 16 marks question, you are losing another 8 marks question. It's very simple mathematics. If you, if you are giving 16 marks, if you are giving 45 minutes, if you are taking 45 minutes for a 16 marks question, you are losing 2 4 marks questions which you could have attempted in those extra 15 minutes. So that is very, very important, that if you want to score exemptions, these are the small tips, these are the small finer points which you should keep in mind. And believe me, if you go to exams directly just listing out these points, nothing is going to happen. You need to practice them daily during your mock tests and while your preparation. You cannot think that only during the exams I will follow these tips. It's not going to help. It needs to become your habit. Okay, so these are the 4 important tips that I can share with you, that this will create a difference between an exemption and non-exemption. See, finally you need to study. There is no shortcut that you do not need to study and you will get an exemption like that. You need to study, but these are the points. If you give priority to those topics which are mostly asked, or which are having higher percentage in your question paper, so definitely you can get from just being passed to getting an exemption in that subject. So I think so that is what we can